We zitten hier in Criterion, bij Club Criterion heet het vanavond, want er is een speciale première van de film Shortbus. En naast me zit de regisseur van deze geweldige film, John Cameron Mitchell. I'm just talking a lot of rubbish in Dutch, you don't understand. Just take it as a compliment what I said. I do have a lot of compliments about the film, because I think you make a very highly amusing film in combination with real sex. Is the film also erotic in your senses?
I don't know. I would define erotic as arousing, maybe. I mean, eros...
Is it pornographic?
I don't think so, because
filmically they say it's porn if you see hard dicks, sperm, etc.
Yeah, but if you look in the dictionary, porn is something that's meant to arouse. Okay. It's made to arouse, and it's watched to be aroused. But our priority is not to arouse.
No, it didn't arouse me also.
So I wouldn't call it porn. No. I mean, porn is for jerking off to.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of it. Yeah. And in this case, most of the sex is actually quite unsuccessful and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And which almost de-eroticizes it.
Yeah.
You know, I almost want to get the erotic out of the way to see what's left over in the sex.
Yeah, you deliberately, and that's why you put in humor a lot.
Yeah, though of course, you know, some of the best sex I've had, I'm laughing with the person, you know.
During the sex or after?
Yes, during.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's other kinds of sex that you don't laugh till the orgasm happens, but that's my favorite kind is the kind where you were laughing during it.
Yeah.
In this case, though, I think the humor does kind of get you out of the erotic side and kind of making you think more about what's going on with the characters, even some ideas. I mean, there's a character who's introduced to the audience sucking his own dick, you know, while someone else is talking about the orgasm being the place where time stops and they're truly alone.
Yeah.
And she talks about wanting to procreate alone in the dark like a worm, and then you sort of see him in this curled up worm shape, and he is... It's a way of introducing, metaphorically, we get to know the character by the way he's being sexual. Yeah. He's almost self-fertilizing himself. He's trying to be so self-sufficient.
Very painful scene also.
It's painful, you know. It wasn't easy to shoot, but it's...
No, but it's a painful effect also for the audience who watches it.
I don't know if, you know, maybe pain, but there's also, you know, there's also...
Confronting or...
Yeah, I mean, it's also...
What the fuck are we doing? That's what I felt a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is. It is a little odd. He's every 14-year-old guy, straight or gay, thought about getting his dick in his mouth just as a time saver. Yeah. But he's in his 30s and he's trying. You know, it's like, is he going to hurt his neck? And it's kind of ridiculous.
Practiced a lot of yoga before he did it.
He's worked very hard, but of course, when he does succeed in self-fertilizing, he bursts into tears because the last thing he is self-sufficient, and he realizes it. Yeah. So it's a way of introducing...
It's a very lonely scene, huh?
It is, and he's a very lonely character. Yeah. That's how we get to know him.
That's what touches me most of your film, except for the beautiful one-liners with a lot of humor, especially in the first half of the movie. That you see a lot of characters, and maybe that's very New Yorkish, who deal with a lot of loneliness inside themselves. Is that something which is... sort of major issue in your life also?
Well, you know, I think New York is the place, we talk about it as the place where people come to get fucked, but it's also the place they come to be forgiven. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure it's the same with Amsterdam. It's like the people from the provinces who are told that they don't belong, and they're told that maybe there's something wrong with them, come to the big city to find out if there is something wrong with them. Yeah. And sometimes there is something wrong with them, and it destroys them. Yeah. And other times, they realize, oh, this is just that I'm different, and it might actually be good. Yeah. It might make me more interesting. And so all the characters come from a place where you don't belong, so you feel lonely. So all the characters are desperately trying to connect, you know.
With good sex, there is a sort of unification of two souls, if I say it that way. But what about bad sex, and how do you get out of it?
Well, sometimes good sex can be connected to a lot of bad feelings. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you come from a place where sex wasn't very healthy, what turns you on is sometimes kind of harsh. you know, and kind of power based.
Yeah.
And you don't know, and because
It was a too romantic view. I just
because it's not connected. Sometimes it's really hot, but then you feel really kind of depressed after, or you know. So I think good sex involves respect, and which is not to say that, you know, you can't have a respectful S&M, for example, but a kind of an understanding of like, you're a person, I'm a person. We can connect sex to friendliness. We can connect it to love. We can connect it even to introduction, meeting someone. It can be very powerful, a sexual experience, but it has to be with an I-thou relationship. It has to be, for example, an awareness of safety, an awareness of you are another person. I'm a person that's valuable. And when it isn't, it can descend into something like addiction. It can become something obviously associated with guilt, so you never quite satisfied. You always feel like you did something wrong. So it's like really trying to... and I had to free myself from a lot of guilt growing up very conservative Catholic. Okay. All of the actors came from very conservative backgrounds, which is why they did it. I never would have made this film if I hadn't. So I had to... it helped me free sex a little bit from some guilt working on this film.
Suppose you end up in a scene that you think in the beginning, wow, this must be ending up in very good sex, and then it's really lousy sex.
Yeah.
Do you have a recipe to get out of that situation?
Laughing, admitting that it's bad. I know it's hard. Yeah. But it just helps, you know. It's like, and you know, sometimes the older you get, the less...
because you want to stay polite to the other person.
You do, but saying that
you want to run away.
But saying it's not working doesn't necessarily mean you're insulting them.
Yeah.
Because you almost have to admit that they're not having a good time too. The problem is when they're having a great time and you're not, and the fact that you're not is not affecting whether they're having a good time.
Those painful situations.
It's very strange because it's like it's almost like when Severin is with Sophia and she's having an orgasm with the egg, but she's not aware that there's someone else there. That's the worst. Yeah. You know, and I've certainly been there. I mean, that was inspired by a certain person. But it's all I can think of is just to call it off. I mean, that's why some people fake orgasms too, is to get it over with.
But men can't fake orgasm. That's something which is...
I've faked an orgasm.
What, with yogurt or...?
No, I mean, it was just a place where I could do that.
Okay, in the dark or...
Anyone can do it if they try.
Okay. Did you ever consider to make this film only with gay characters, or was there also a heterosexual aspect in it ever?
Well, it's just the world that I live in that it is mixed, so it seems silly to kind of narrow it down. Yeah, I mean, I was interested definitely in the female sexuality because it was so new to me. Yeah. But I wanted there to be a diversity because that's just the world I live in, and it can only help when gay people are less afraid of straight people and straight people are less afraid of gay, and bisexual is comfortable with everyone, and that just makes the world a better place.
Did the film do something out of New York in Prudish America?
Well, yeah, it's been playing in 80 different cities and towns by now in the U.S. and
they didn't burn the movie.
No, there hasn't been any public controversy at all.
Does it surprise you?
Well, a little bit, but I think it's also because the Republicans and conservatives are very busy right now because we have an election coming, and there's no advantage to talking about it. And I think conservatives are also more sophisticated. They realize when they talk about it, people will go see it, and they're not going to see the film. So I don't know. My distributor would have preferred more controversy, but I don't want to have to argue with someone who won't see it. How can you talk to someone about who refuses to see it? Yeah.
But there are no big problems with the movie?
No.
Okay. Well, congratulations with that.
Thank you.
What's your next project?
I don't know. I have a few scripts, and one of them's a children's film, and, you know, we'll see
what pedophilia
happens. No.
We're so happy. Thank you.
Other people have done that better than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have to do it still, maybe. Okay. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Have a nice time in Amsterdam.
Thank you very much.
It's a hot city.
It's great.
Yeah.